Christ our Lord invites to his table all who love him, who earnestly repent of their sin and seek to live in peace with one another. Therefore, let us confess our sin before God and one another. Merciful God, we confess that we have not loved you with our whole heart. We have failed to be an obedient church. We have not done your will. We have broken your law. We have rebelled against your love. We have not loved our neighbors, and we have not heard the cry of the needy. Forgive us, we pray. Free us for joyful obedience through Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen. Hear the good news. Christ died for us while we were yet sinners. That proves God's love toward us. In the name of Jesus Christ, you are forgiven.
In the name of Jesus Christ, you are forgiven.
Glory to God.
Amen.
Our scripture in the Gospel of Mark, chapter 7. In your bulletin insert, you have parts of the scripture I'm going to read. I'm going to read the entire scripture from verse 1 to verse 23. Now, you need to know in going into this, Mark is writing this gospel to the church, a Hellenistic church, the Gentile church, probably in Rome, though there's arguments about what churches it was to. Mark may not have actually been a Jew, but he was certainly, if he was not as familiar with Jewish understandings and rights and rules and so on as the other gospel writers were. But he is writing to a group that is fighting with the synagogue. They're being kicked out of the synagogue. They are not allowed. They're Gentiles, and they don't want to become Jewish in following Jesus. So this is many of our foreparents, you might say, that he is writing to. And one of the arguments of the day is carried on in the book of Acts is, what can you eat? You have to eat kosher before you can be a part of God's kingdom world on earth. I invite you to stand out of respect and as you are able for the reading of the gospel. Now when the Pharisees and some of the scribes who had come from Jerusalem gathered around him, they noticed that some of his disciples were eating with defiled hands, that is, without washing them. For the Pharisees and all the Jews do not eat unless they thoroughly wash their hands, thus observing the tradition of the elders. And they do not eat anything from the market unless they wash it. And there are also many other traditions that they observe, the washing of cups and pots and bronze kettles. So the Pharisees and the scribes asked Jesus, "Why do your disciples not live according to the tradition of the elders, but eat with defiled hands?" He said to them, "Isaiah prophesied rightly about you hypocrites. As it is written, this people honors me with their lips, but their hearts are far from me. In vain do they worship me, teaching human precepts as doctrines. You abandon the commandment of God and hold to human tradition." Then he said to them, "You have a fine way of rejecting the commandment of God in order to keep your tradition. For Moses said, 'Honor your father and your mother,' and whoever speaks of father or mother must surely die. But you say that if anyone tells father or mother, 'Whatever support you might have had from me is Corban,' that is, an offering to God, then you no longer permit doing anything for a father or a mother. thus making void the word of God through your tradition that you have handed on. And you do many things like this. Then he called the crowd again and said to them, listen to me, all of you, and understand there is nothing outside a person that by going in can defile, but that the things that come out are what defile. When he had left the crowd and entered the house, his disciples asked him about the parable. He said to them, do you also fail to understand? Do you not see that whatever goes into a person from outside cannot defile, since it enters not the heart but the stomach and goes out into the sewer? Thus he declared all foods clean. And he said, it is what comes out of a person that defiles, for it is from within, from the human heart, that evil intentions come: fornication, theft, murder, adultery, avarice, wickedness, deceit, licentiousness, envy, slander, pride, folly. All these evil things come from within, and they defile a person. The word of God for the people of God.
Praise be to God.
Please be seated. Let us pray. Thank you, God, for being whom you are, finding ways to bring grace to us, even though we prefer legalism. Amen. Norman Meads, a former preacher of mine, used to tell a story about another preacher, and I don't remember any of that. I couldn't find any of the story written down anywhere, but I remember it so well. And it was that this woman was dragging her 13-year-old boy before the preacher because he hated church. He hated to come to church. He didn't want to come. And whenever she asked him why, he would say, it's boring. So this preacher looked at this young man and he said, so you get bored in church? Sullen, you know how I was at 13. Sullen. And then he turned to Mom and he said, that's okay. Anyone who hasn't been bored in church just hasn't been to church at all. Yeah. Right? You know what I mean, folks? One of the things I believe is that boredom in church is a gift of God. It's a gift. Because what happens when you're bored? Your mind starts to drift. And maybe on this day, where your mind is drifting, is what God is trying to talk with you about. And so maybe you ought to be paying attention to that and not the words of this guy who gets to wear a dress every Sunday. You know? Maybe today is not a day where my words are going to speak to you. God can speak to you in many ways. And then when it's time for you to come back into whatever I'm saying, we'll do so. Maybe today your drifting mind will get you to be thinking a little about food and rules and how they are good and sometimes not so good. All right? So if they drift around in there, that's great. If they take you somewhere else, that's great. But be in church today. Be bored if you need to. Don't be bored otherwise. Just be present as you are able to God's voice with you. So let's start off by talking about childhood rules. Dinner rules. Anybody have any? What did Mom or Dad teach you about one of those unbreakable rules at the table?
No elbows on the table.
Does anybody keep those rules today? You know, I found myself the other day like this because I couldn't hold my own head up. You know, what is that all about? But anyway, yeah, no elbows. Okay.
You eat everything on your plate.
Clean your plate. there are children in China who want those things. They're famished. That was a 1960s thing, though, so if you're younger, others said, you're listening to the children in China then. Listen to children in China. Okay. Other rules.
Don't scrape your teeth on your fork.
Oh, wow. Don't scrape the teeth on the fork. Okay.
Don't talk with your mouth full.
Don't talk with your mouth full. Yeah. What?
Chew with your mouth closed.
Seafood. That was a later thing, but we don't want to have seafood from you.
You're not leaving the table till we're all done.
Till we're all done. Talking about boredom. You finish early, and these folks are just talking, and there is something you want to go do.
Use your napkin, not your.
Oh, use your napkin, not your.
Keep your napkin on your lap.
Keep your napkin on your lap. One of mine.
Don't sneeze with your mouth full.
Don't sneeze with your mouth full. Oh, no. One of my family's things was setting the table. That was a chore, and it had to be set right. Folded napkin on the left, the fork on top of that, the knife with the blade turned in on the right side with the spoon, and then if you were going to have dessert, the dessert spoon at the top, the glass is on the right above the knife. There are people who are going, yeah, that's right. Still do that, don't you? Yeah, sort of. Now we go, do we need napkins? Nah, we don't know. Yeah. Rules. Rules around food. And we've been changing our rules. Have we not? Have we not been changing? My kids don't know how to set a table. They don't. Does that make them inferior? Yeah. There are a lot of food rules within our culture. In Jesus' culture, there were some rules too about food. The Jewish rules about how to live your life, not just with food, were explicitly, according to Scripture, to demonstrate their identity to the rest of the world. How did the rest of the world know that that was a Jew sitting over there or standing there? By the way they dressed, by the way they ate. They prepared their food, by the way they ate their food, and what foods they didn't eat. It was an identity issue, especially when you are a very weak nation that has been picked up and moved out often. When you're spread out, what's called the diaspora, you're moved out into other cultures. How do you ever keep your identity? Well, by your practices. By your practices. Now, the practice about food that was being taught was very moralistic in Jesus' time. In the sense of the food that you took into your body gave you your actions, your personality. It was a morality that you were taking in. So think about your food that you're eating. Pig, right? Well, you were going to take in the viciousness of a pig that roots in the ground. And you were going to become like that pig. Moralistically. And that's why God had said, don't eat of these foods, because we don't want to become like that. Moralistic. Well, Jesus attacks that thinking directly. Now, why it's important to know that Mark is writing to a Gentile community that isn't keeping kosher is because this gives them the authority to not keep kosher. They're in a conversation constantly with the synagogue. And those folks are telling them, you can't do this without kosher. You got to become Jewish. And you get into the book of Luke, Acts, and you get all of those conversations around Peter, etc. And that's a whole another time. So Mark doesn't end the argument within the Christian community, some who were Jewish and some who were Gentile, and how do they come together. That doesn't get fixed according to, until Acts is written, and Acts is written many decades later. So, do you hear that? Now what I want to talk about with us today is the advantage of rules in our life and their disadvantage as well. How do you know that you are in this family? Well, this family only acts this way. I know many people who talk about their childhood where they say, my dad, we acted this way and we weren't like anybody else. That's how we knew who we were. And they talk about those rules. They were very strict, but they gave them identity and gave them understanding of how they're supposed to respond in life. And so they hung in there with that. Or they didn't. But if they didn't, they were breaking with the family. They were becoming something else. So part of the good stuff of having rules, laws within community is knowing who you are. It gives you identity. This is how we deal with these things. What's the problem with it? When the rule or the law becomes the end purpose, when it becomes the purpose, when it's the fulfillment, keeping the law, that becomes a problem. When the laws and the rules are not to be inviolable, not to be violated, whatever that word is, they are to help you get to another place. Paul talks about it in this way, totally different language than Mark. But Paul talks about the law, Deuteronomy, one place, the law as a gift to the people so that they can learn they need grace. He says it's a gift of God, all these laws. Because in trying to fulfill these laws, you learn you can't do it. What's the problem with having a list of things that you're supposed to do? Well, you get into there and you go, oh, I've done 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I haven't done 6, but that woman over there, she hasn't done 1 or 3 or 6. I'm better. Maybe we get a little taller and you just go, look at that. The problem with laws, where you're starting to line things out and you turn them into religion, is they become walls and barriers between you and everybody else. Because you become the dictator of behavior. And those people who don't keep up with it, that's their problem. Is your way of following Jesus how you pray? How you, whether you go to church or not? What songs you sing? How you read Scripture? Is it normative? What do I mean by that? Is everybody else who's a Christian following Jesus supposed to follow it the exact same way as you do? A lot of people think so. That their way of understanding Jesus, of who Jesus is normative for all Christians. To the point of you got to use this book, or you have to pray this way. I remember in Sunday school learning that you had to pray with your hands like this, and you had to look up because God's not down. As you pray. Normative for that Sunday school teacher. You wouldn't pray if you didn't do that. Well, in the early church, prayer was often like this. You were a vessel. You were an empty vessel, like Jesus coming out of the water at his baptism, emptied of himself, coming out, an empty vessel, and the Spirit fills him up. You're supposed to pray like this. You're an empty vessel. And the Spirit is going to fill you up. Well, is that normative? Well, if it is, most of us don't pray, right? Because we're not doing it this way. The labyrinth. Wonderful way to pray. For some. Not for everybody. It doesn't touch. For everybody. Is it normative to say you should never use the labyrinth? That's what did I get? Oh, New Age. That's New Age. Gosh, it goes back hundreds of years, but it's New Age. And so therefore you're not supposed to do it. I got that. Right? Right? You know. Or you should go the other way and say, if you don't do the labyrinth, you're not praying. Do you hear what I'm trying to say? You can only pray to God in English. You can't pray in any other language. Many Americans seem to think so. There can be no other prayer way to pray. Do you hear what I'm trying to get at? I think it's the essence of what Jesus is getting at today in our scripture. Is that what is normative becomes religiosity and gets God in a box. And God doesn't live in a box. God is constantly breaking out of our boxes so that we have to adjust and become new. We like our boxes. We like our rules. We like to be in control. And many of us use religion to stay in control rather than using our religious faith and identity to opening ourselves up to what God might be doing with us again. Look at your reflective readings. I skipped the part where I was going to talk about the modern Jewish quotes, but let's just do the very first one. Rachel Held Evans. Rachel Held Evans is an author. She's young. She might be 40 years of age now. To me, that's very young. I met her 10 years ago. She was a scholar speaking at the Buechner Institute at King University in Bristol, where I was on the board. And she was one of the many people who would come and speak to the students and then to the community. This young woman, she was 30 then, she really, just an incredible theologian. The thing about that is she was raised, her father was a professor at the college, it's now university, where the Scopes trial was done. Whatever that is, Blair, maybe? Anyway, she came out of that community, which was very, very legalistic and narrow. I mean, we're really talking about a very narrow understanding of who God is and how to follow Jesus. And they believe that they're normative, at least my understanding. They may not say it that way. Well, she came out of that because it didn't hold up with her life anymore. Isn't that how things work? You have your base understandings about who God is and what's going on and how you're supposed to act, and then life clobbers you, slaps you across the face, and you either try to get back into it or you come to a place of going, something's wrong here. It isn't right. It doesn't work. You expand your understandings of how to follow Jesus. And that's what she did. And she's still doing. So anyway, with all of that, if you ever get a chance to read some of Rachel Held Evans' work. By the way, there's only 2 churches left in the county where she lives, where she can go to church. And that's the Methodist and the Episcopal Church. The other churches have banned her because of her radical, to them, understandings. She's not that radical to a Methodist, but that's just where we are. We're a big umbrella. We understand there are many different viewpoints to all of these questions. And we think that we can follow Jesus in that discussion wherever we come down. But anyway, this is what she says. It's a frightful thing, thinking you have to get God right in order to get God to love you. Thinking you're always one error away from damnation. It's kind of legalism, isn't it? It's a kind of legalism. Really. How ironic. The very condition of humanity is to be wrong about God. The moment we think, I'm going to add that in, we have figured God out, God ceases to be God. Maybe it's time to embrace the mystery and let ourselves off the hook. I think Paul has it right. That all of these rules and legalisms that we grow up with, that many are very helpful to not only our identity, but our way of getting through life. Let me tell you, when somebody has left something out that you could just take, it's smart to remember, do not steal. You know, that's a good rule. Just because you could just take it and get away with it, doesn't mean you should. Right? You know, this is some good stuff out there that we ought to be living by. But when that becomes the totality, keeping the rules, we can't succeed. We never can earn God's love. It doesn't happen that way. You can't be good enough. You can't do it. Instead, it reveals how much you need grace. The good thing is that Jesus died for each and every one in this room. And for actually each and every one out there as well. Don't ever forget that. In our baptism vows, we talk about fighting evil. Fighting prejudice. Especially America's original sin, the racism that was wrapped into our Constitution that we still can't get out of. That's got to be dealt with. And we're struggling to do so. But God's word is grace, even in